Welcome! My name is Colleen Tauke and I'm a sewing specialist at Fons and Porter. In this Quilting Quickly tutorial, I will show you how to put together the quilt Stars for Christmas. Okay, we're going to be working with 10-inch squares, and you'll see that I have some similar to the ones behind me, but not the exact ones. But any 10-inch squares of a Christmas print will work for this. And you're going to be adding in, as you can see, the sashing fabric. The fabric, then that is also used to make the floating stars that you see. And then we've added a striped border for this quilt. Makes it a lot of fun. In order to purchase this pattern, you can visit our website and you can figure out how to order it from there. We're going to be using those 10-inch squares in their entirety, and they're going to be sashed to make the rows through this, but the fun part is those floating stars. So let's see how those are made. I've got one of the floating star kinds of blocks here on the work center, and it's using a, in the pattern it calls it light green, but a tan here, and then a lighter color for the star so you can see it really well. Now, in order to cut these pieces, you're going to be using the two different size squares of the light fabric. So we've got larger ones that are going to be the center square, and the smaller ones are going to be used to make our star points. And then there are two different sizes of prints for size squares and rectangles for the background. And they're very slight difference in them, only a 1/4 inch difference. The outer pieces here are actual squares that are 3 3/4 inches. And then the pieces that we're going to use to make the star points are 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. So just a little bit of difference. So you can see using a sticky dot, a post-it note, some way to denote, because these are very similar. We don't want to pick up the wrong one and then our blocks won't fit together properly. So organization is kind of key at this point. Here you can see the blocks are quite a bit different, not quite as critical there, but when it comes to those background ones, keep them sorted. Okay, what we're going to be doing first is we're going to work with the star points. There are 4 of those units, so we're going to be making 4 matching ones, and then we'll be able to put the blocks together. So we're going to be starting with one of those rectangles that we cut as our background, and we're going to be using the 3-inch squares, and we're going to somehow make that into part of our star point. What we're going to be doing, and you can follow along in your pattern, and the directions and all the diagrams there are great aids for you as you put this together. But what you're going to be doing is going down through all those 3-inch squares that we cut that are going to become your star points, and you're going to mark them each diagonally, corner to corner. So the diagonal seam method, and then you're going to be placing them one at a time. You notice that these do not match up. That's the way they're supposed to be, and you're going to be stitching in a diagonal seam from corner to corner across the light color square. So I'll turn that so it's more towards you. And you can see here I've stitched with red thread. You would be using a tan or a cream color thread. The red is for your benefit only. We've stitched corner to corner, and then you're going to be pressing it out just like you would do if you're making triangle squares. It's a diagonal seam method, so it's really easy. It's kind of an adaptation because usually we're putting together pieces that match up perfectly, and these are offset in their size. So now we've created one diagonal, then we're going to come in here. We're going to trim away the underneath, same as if we were doing triangle squares, diagonal seams like in a flying geese. And you would probably want to take that to the iron also, but just for time here, we're going to then take a second square, marked in the same way. Remember I told you to mark all the 3-inch squares this way. Then we're going to place it this direction, match up that lower corner there, and you're going to sew corner to corner again. And as you open it up, you will notice now you have the floating star points. So I have one finished down through here. So that is what the star point part looks like. So you're going to create 4 of those, and you're going to be taking out of your other stack of the larger light color for the center, those tan color or light green color centers or squares for the outer corners, and you're going to create rows. So I've got the rows already created here. So if I lay those out, you'll see the star, that floating star being created. Now this is where, remember I said the organization is important because you want things to match up so that those squares and the outer corners square the light in the center. Take this out of the way. You'll then join those rows to make your star blocks that go within your quilt. Make sure you do take time to press because those are the times you want to get that block nice and flat so that when you're working at creating the rest of your rows that you have a nice finished product. Okay, now you're going to want to be taking your diagram that's in your pattern and the 10-inch square of solid pieces here that you're not going to cut up are going to have sashing added to them. And you will see in the quilt behind me, it's a block, a star. And the stars kind of dance through the quilt, so you're going to need that diagram for their placement. And the sashing then breaks up between the blocks. We will simulate rows here with sashing going in this direction. And then you'll notice that in the second row, as we begin that second row, we only have half a block. So it's offset like this. I've added the sashing bars to just one side of each of the squares as I work my way through it. And then we'll just put a simulated one in here. We're going to run out of space otherwise. Now, in order to learn how to center the sashing bar above a block, I'm going to send you to another video that we've made. If you look under the So Easy tab in our videos, you will find techniques. One called row alignment will give you the specifics on how to ensure that you can line up the sashing between blocks so that they're offset just perfectly. That's a whole nother technique and I didn't want to overload you here, but that's how you would do those offset rows. Add your inner border of that light all the way around, add your striped outer border, and you've created stars for Christmas. For other videos that you may want to watch from Quilting Quickly, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.